Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm John Scott and joined by Matt Essex for WrestleLine, and we're going to be talking all things Survivor Series tonight. The review plus some Raw fallout, some controversial moments I'm sure we're going to get to, plus listeners' questions coming in. And if you want to email us through while the show's on live, feel free to hit us up at wrestleline@gmail.com. Be glad to get that through. So Matt, it's been a little while since we last spoke. In fact, it was just before the whole shenanigans in Saudi Arabia, in fact, so it seems like quite a while ago now. But in the realms of WWE, everything is moving very fast these days, and Survivor Series with what was it, less than 3 weeks worth of build up, Matt. We had to kind of hope for the best. We had 2 matches that were looking pretty promising. They got scrapped in the last 7 days. I did a little mini podcast about that. Got a bit of blowback for that as well, not just through the audio, literally from some of our emails about some of the predictions and my decision to say that those matches that they changed to, for me, were bigger on paper than the ones that were already there. So that caused a lot of havoc, as you can imagine. But Matt, going into Survivor Series, before we talk about the show that we saw, how excited or not excited were you for this year's Survivor Series, which of course Survivor Series is, one of the long remaining sort of pay-per-views in WWE. It's one of the sort of longer sort of generational ones that we're all used to as long-term fans. Was you excited for this one, or was this falling in a bracket of just another WWE pay-per-view?
No, I mean, I always try my best to keep myself excited for these ones because it is kind of more one of those fun feeling pay-per-views, because you get that whole gimmick of the elimination and supposedly the rivalry between Raw and SmackDown, who's going to come out on top. So I guess there's a lot of things going on, especially what you said with all the matches being changed, and that I did try and make the most of it. I mean, like, it's difficult to say whether the matches that were on paper before they changed them were better, or whether the ones that we actually got were better. But I did find myself surprised that some of the matches that were changed, I actually thought, I've been waiting for this kind of thing. If you're going to say one in particular, probably the Rousey one, I was like, I've been looking forward to seeing Charlotte versus Rousey. And it was bound to happen sooner or later. So that was like probably one thing that was drawing me in from the start.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We were there. Don't forget as well, we had NXT TakeOver War Games that was on as well, we're not going to be talking about that too much, but I would like to say I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was really well done. Some really good matches on there, and a lot of good things happening. What did you make? Did you get to see NXT TakeOver, Matt? I think you did, didn't you?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I definitely watched that, and we always know that there's a good chance that the NXT lot will blow away the main roster. And, they tried their hardest again, no doubt, and I thoroughly enjoyed that one as well. And it was good to see Dream getting his time to shine.
Yep.
I did enjoy NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, and the War Games match was really, really well done, I thought. Enjoyed very much, and very good. So anyway, let's go to Survivor Series, and first and foremost we have to talk about, of course, the part I really I did say a while ago on my podcast, I'll never watch these things again, but there I was, Sunday night, wasn't particularly sleeping so well, so in the end I think it started like 10 p.m. in the UK, like the kickoff show, because 2 hours again just for a kickoff show of Survivor Series is way too long. But anyway, there I was. I found myself watching this stuff, Matt, and I don't know how much of it you got to see, or whether you just saw the match, or I would assume so, knowing our mutual friend. But did you see any of the panel business? Because there was a part in that where I just was like, oh my goodness.
it's gone to the point now where I sort of sift through the panel bits and I look for the backstage segments. I saw most of the backstage segments. I watched them. I found out about how the whole women's team was. Well, two of the women's team have been changed.
Yeah.
I saw those moments. But when it comes to the panel and I see Booker T and Renee, and she's good on commentary. There's no doubt about it. But when they're just talking rubbish and just going over the same things, how can you drag out some of these conversations for 2 hours? I can't believe it.
They find a way, I can assure you. But I'm aiming this at Jonathan Coachman, who was on the panel. It was Jerry Lawler, there was Bev Phoenix, and I was listening to it, and I've already, I always say that whatever predictions they give is all load of rubbish anyway, because it's never really what they really think. They just have to try and divide it up as best as they can. But there was this moment in it where they were talking about Nia Jax and the Becky Lynch incident from Monday Night Raw. And when I heard this, I was just like, this is exactly why wrestling is going the way it's going. Jonathan Coachman come out with, and you can all check this out, it's still on there on the network. Can't imagine WWE, whether they just completely missed this or whatever, or someone did get told off, I don't know. Jonathan Coachman goes, something along the lines of, hey, did you see what happened on Monday? Nia Jax actually hit her. She actually made full contact. I was like, what? What are we saying here? That they don't normally make full contact? Yeah, she was bad. She really hit her this time. I'm like, what the hell am I just listening to here? Like, you've just told us then that everything else is fine because it's scripted, but because that act happened by accident, that was real. So let's get more with that than anything else, because you're telling us now that everything else that happened is a load of rubbish. I couldn't believe him coming out with that and saying that, and then Bev Phoenix nodding her head to this. I was like, what's just happened? Like, it just seemed like they flushed it down the toilet in that sentence, and sort of sum up really where we are sometimes with WWE. And they're just sort of like, there's nothing that's been held back now. Like, there seems like there's no limits to what's being said, and years and years ago, that sort of thing, that would have been frowned upon. That just never would have come out, especially in a panel type situation like that. And I just couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. The fact that they just said that in a sentence. Did you see what happened? She actually hit her, and this time she made full contact when she did it, as if to say they never normally do. I was just amazed, Matt. Does that shock you in this day and age, or does that not shock you anymore, Matt, that those sort of things come out?
It definitely does. I mean, how can you just say that? I mean, you've got to make things believable, and the whole thing about wrestling is staying in that disbelief. You're along there for the ride. You don't just watch a movie at the cinema and start thinking, well, he wouldn't do that in real life because he's just an actor, and I know he'd much rather be in his mansion. Now, you wouldn't really want to think about those kind of things. And similarly to like the UFC, like, why would you pick out say a missed opportunity, like a missed strike? You wouldn't go, oh look, he barely hit him on that one. Oh, perhaps he meant not to hit him. Yeah. It was beyond me how they were doing that, and it just put more on something that really just lost focus on actually what was going to happen that night completely in that sentence for me. Like, it gave me a reason to switch off and say, well, this is not worth seeing then, because they obviously don't really do anything until maybe there's an accident. So anyway, regardless of that, next it'll probably mention maybe something about Brock when he actually thumped Braun in the face for real. Maybe he'll talk about that one next time. But anyway, the kickoff show, Matt, it did have a match in it, surprisingly, and it was Team SmackDown, obviously, against the Team Raw. I got to say, when I saw this announced, this 10-on-10 match, the tag team one, I wasn't overly excited for it, because how much of this stuff can you get? But amazingly, SmackDown win. But we're hearing reports afterwards, Matt, it was all through an error. And that's come from numerous sources as well. That's not just a couple. That's been floating around. And apparently
this is the big reason that WWE made that conscious effort of saying, oh, the kickoff one doesn't count because of that exact botch effort or whatever happened in the first match. So we had a kickoff match, Matt, that made it didn't matter anyway because they weren't even going to count it. So it was absolutely pointless to even have any sort of strength behind this. What did you make of this kickoff match, Matt? And obviously, it was quite, 22, just over 22 minutes worth of a match that seemingly meant nothing by the end of it because of, there was a cock up. But what did you think of it?
It was just typical WWE all over, where they say, we've got these many people here and we haven't got much time. Let's just throw them all into one match together and, give them their 10 minutes and get on with it. But I kind of thought, even though we're hearing now it was an error, I kind of thought the Usos were the ones that would have to actually carry this and take it through to the end, because when you're looking at the tag teams these days, they are one of the more legitimate ones. It's really only them and the New Day. And even when you looked at that match, just looked at the SmackDown side compared to the Raw side, you could tell where WWE focuses its efforts on the tag team divisions, because Raw's division is a shambles.
Yeah.
There's no decent things going on there, and if they were in the tag team championship kind of thing, not there involved in this match. And even people like Gable and Bobby Roode, these are just guys that have been chucked together in the last couple of months.
Yeah, it did feel like that. I typically don't like it when they just throw everyone together because they got nothing else to do, especially at big pay-per-views and mainly at WrestleMania. That's my biggest sort of beef sometimes with when it happens at WrestleMania, because I just think WrestleMania should be about the quality rather than the quantity, and if you have to be of a certain level to make it on the card. And I do feel like they just these battle royals and everything else now, they just throw one up together just to get them all out there for some crazy reason. So yeah, it was an okay match. It was nothing really out of the ordinary for me. There were some good spots in there, but it didn't really, let's just say it didn't really set me on fire. And then obviously as soon as the main show comes on, they're all talking about how that didn't count. So that must have really pleased everybody that was watching and trying to get into it. So we do get to Survivor Series itself, Matt. Of course, from Los Angeles, the Staples Center, so quite a big venue of WWE's over the years. Of course, held a WrestleMania as well once. So here we were back there again, and they kicked off the show. What did you make of having this match as the first match, Matt? The women's match, and obviously the traditional tag team. Did you think that was a good idea? Did you like the idea that they were coming out first?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think we get a lot of this whole are they making almost overcompensating for the women's revolution now? Do they keep putting them on later in the night just to keep up appearances that they're still making a conscious effort to make it a big thing? But then there were other women's matches coming up later in the night, or there was one at least. But yeah, I thought that this was a good idea to bring this one on, because it was a pretty decent match. It was an exciting way to kick off the night, because everyone has come there to see a Survivor Series match at the end. If they're going to say the other one didn't count, you might as well start the show off with an actual one that does count. It was an interesting affair, because you had a lot of course, when you've got two teams like this, it throws heels and faces together, and the fan reaction to a lot of the performance is always very mixed, Matt. I want to just throw this one out there, Matt, because this is going to be, let me just get this out of the way with, because this bugged me the whole night. So I just want to throw that out. I'm pretty sure you know what's coming, but the fact that throughout the whole night, they were wearing team colours. That really got my nerves. All the individuality had been lost. They were wearing red and blue, team colours, as if to say, well, for this one night, there's going to be fans of each, and they're really going to want SmackDown or Raw to win, as if fans are going to show up in SmackDown t-shirts, or, like a sports team t-shirt.
there's no way any of those fans were going to be showing up in Raw t-shirts or SmackDown t-shirts and only cheering for one through the whole night. But the way WWE present it, it's almost like they're expecting people to choose one or the other when, you know, there's no way anybody gives a monkeys about, you know, brand supremacy or anything else, because they're always mixed up anyway now. They're, more so than ever, this is not like the split of 2002 where they genuinely made a conscious effort of they didn't even put promos